Yo, what is up, guys? It's Hunter and I'm back with another F1 2021 video. It's the first league race video of the year, and yes, as you see in the comments, we do actually manage to get a little podium in here. It's going to be our first race, our first podium of the season, so it definitely wasn't one that was easy to get. So getting into this race, this one, it's our Monday night league, so this actually is full quali. I'm not sure. Going into the league, we didn't think that we were gonna be doing full quali. Our preseasons were full quali. However, I think a lot of us were under the impression that that was just for the stewards and the admin to basically get a feel for our pace, see what tiers to put us in. But it looks like we are doing full quali for the entirety of the season, which is fine with me. It definitely makes things a little bit interesting when compared to short quali, whereas basically everybody's gonna have to go on softs because yeah, it's just how it is. But full quali definitely mixes things up. The faster guys can mix up the strategies quite a bit, whereas it looks like a lot of people are deciding to go possibly on mediums for Q2. Maybe some go on soft, so it just depends on your pace for that race. But as you guys can see, ending Q1, we did a 142.4, so nothing crazy. Just wanted to put in a decent lap to where we were actually pushing, so we could have somewhat of a baseline going in to Q2, even though the delta won't be there. I still just wanted to feel what it was like to push under the track circumstances, even though there are no different. I mean, it's not ACC. But anyway, getting into, I believe, Q2, we completely fluffed our first lap. I believe we went wide. I can't remember the turn name, but it's after Podium, after Macomb, I think. I don't know. It's just the right-hander before the long back straight, and I basically got onto the curb, got a little bit unsettled, and it invalidated me. So having to go back out on the same mediums, so these are old mediums, scrubbed. So basically we'll probably end up losing about 3 or 4 tenths, and not to mention us really being safe through this sector 1. Just trying not to invalidate. We don't even go near that curb on the left. Trying to stick to the curb on the inside right here. Hit the apex. And then this turn is still a mystery to me. I just don't know what to do. Last year, obviously the move was to use that outside right curb and just slide off it basically. But you get so unsettled, and it's so scary if you go onto that curb in the wrong way, or come off of that curb in the wrong way, that I don't know if it's even worth it to use. But I guess later, as we get farther in the game, we'll see. I missed the apex there, missed another apex. So these mediums not treating me that well, not really putting in that great of a lap. Passassin on the side there, just being a good boy, getting out of the way, thankfully. Everybody in this league is, the standards in preseason were pretty low, so this race I didn't have any high expectations. I didn't really practice much for it. At first I was gonna really treat this league as kind of a mess around, not a mess around league, but I'm not gonna take this as seriously type league. But after this result, I think we will try to take this as seriously as possible, just because I want to push myself. I want to see what we can do in this league. So we do just squeak by into Q3 on the mediums. With the 7th place finish. Our teammate also goes through on the soft. So as you guys see, there's a lot of different strategies at play. A lot of people went on the softs. I think only 3 of us went on the mediums. So yeah, it's going to be interesting at race start, depending on where we end up on the grid, because obviously we'll be on the slower compounded tires, and there'll probably be a lot of soft runners around us regardless of where we start, unless it's pole. So getting into this first lap of Q3, and it is going to be my fastest lap. Again, I believe it was the same curb. I invalidated my last lap of Q3, which was really unfortunate because I think I was up 2 tenths, something like that. So this first lap was my fastest lap, and I really think I should have taken a higher position, but you guys will see what happens here. Go a little bit deep, come back on ourselves, do barely just meet the apex, and we hit this turn a little bit better than we did with the mediums, obviously. Heading into Podium, almost flat out. We take it down into 6th momentarily, go back up to 7th, and then up to 8th. So that one's a little bit weird as well. Sometimes I think sometimes you'll see on this lap, like I said, I dropped down to 6th, but on my invalidated lap, which I didn't necessarily gain time or lose time, I just kept it in 7th. So it's interesting just kind of figuring out what are the best gears for certain corners, what's the best way to take certain corners, because I'm still figuring this stuff out. It seems like Passassin, like a couple other guys, really do have this stuff figured out. I think there's so much time in this game for me still, especially with the setups as well, not knowing for sure if the setups are really getting their full potential used out of them, because I think at the moment I'm using too much downforce. I'm losing too much on the straights. I won't say what I used for this race, but it wasn't too far in terms of wings, not the actual setup. The setup is far from that increased top speed, but it's not far from the increased top speed, which was I think it's like 7.4 or something. So you guys see there my invalidation and my reaction as I went purple in the middle sector. So definitely was disappointed to invalidate there, because yeah, I felt like I definitely had possibly P2 pace, but I mean TC put in a pretty decent lap, and yeah, I mean I would have had to basically increase by a second to come near Passassin. So I mean he put in a 140.7. that's pretty ridiculous. So the good part is I believe these tires, at least they weren't fully scrubbed from 2 whole laps, but they were obviously used. So I believe these are the softs that carry into the race, which kind of sucks. It's kind of confusing, because for some reason I feel like I remember last year, if you did a medium to soft, you always had a new pair of softs to go on to. It was only if you were doing, a 2-stop, whereas like you don't have a pair of new softs. But you guys will see here that obviously we didn't use all 3 pair of softs that we could have in this session, and we still end up with used softs in the race. So it was a little bit weird to me. As you see, yeah, I only did 1 lap technically, and the other guys did 2. So very unfortunate. Could have been a P2. We were about 7/10 off, so who knows. I don't think I did a good enough first sector to really challenge for it. But either way, we're gonna get into this race start here soon. Obviously we'll scroll through this stuff really quickly, but P3 to start, and our previous rival Total Carney is right ahead of us. He is starting on softs though, so it's me, Passassin, and then I think the Mercedes of Lucifer Shahid. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I think he's the only other one who's starting on medium. So everybody around us, yep, I was right, everybody around us is on soft. So it's gonna be a tough start, but getting into the grid, I was really hopeful that we could at least stay in our position, but you guys will see here soon. So the lights are about to go out. 3, 4, 5 lights, and we're away. And Carney, honestly, he gets a really good first drive and second drive. He nicks the lead off of Passassin. I almost go into the back of Passassin. I wasn't expecting him to necessarily break so early, and I'm still just having troubles. Our first lap woes continue over from 2020, and we're just not having a good first lap. We're lifting a little bit for a rouge just to keep it safe. I can see that the guy in front just struggles to also keep it together, but I knew that even if I turn on my ERS, he's going to turn his on, so it's not much. It's not worth really wasting ERS now to try to get back past him. He's a soft runner, so he should be faster than us right now, and if he is, then so be it. We were still kind of looking for a few moves, wanted to stick our nose in possibly there, but decide better of it, probably for the best. I didn't want to cause an early incident, but as you guys can see, just little snaps of oversteer are really just ruining my confidence in the car, and the mediums just aren't really helping. So maybe something to think about going forward as we go through more and more rounds of this championship is, are the mediums really worth starting on? Because especially this early, it almost seems like it's probable that there will be early safety cars, no matter what league you're in, what tier you're in. It's almost a guarantee that you're gonna have a safety car within the first 4 laps. So it's making me wonder. Obviously, I don't want to make my setups, or I don't want to make my strategies based on other people, but to a certain degree you do kind of have to. So you at least have to have it in mind. So but we'll see as we go through the championship. So first lap done, Possassin still in the lead, TC in second, Tintoretto in third, as they just started to basically pull away the very next lap, and Kilos is now on my back. I try to defend a little bit. He pushes me a little bit to the curb. I didn't really have much space to go anymore on the inside, so I get pretty unsettled by that curb, and it just really puts me off. But we're able to at least keep 4th position. So now on to lap 3. I believe the kid that was in P3 basically is just disconnected. I'm not sure. So his bot is just here, and I tried to obviously get past him as soon as possible, but you can see this bot is definitely using ERS because it's still side by side with me, and I got a much better exit than him. So it was, I was kind of scared going side by side with that thing. I don't know how the bots really act yet in this game, so I was pretty worried that he was just gonna kind of tap me and I was gonna be race ending, especially if that was from a bot. I would have been pretty mad, but nonetheless, we get past him. Gelfi gets past him as well, so no time gained, no time really lost. Anyway, the safety car gets pulled lap 4 while we're in 4th place, so an interesting decision.
I think I should put on the hards, honestly.
And yeah, you can hear me say I think I should put on the hards, and you'll see that you should always trust your gut. Everything worked out in the end, but I think you should always trust your gut. I told myself we should be putting on hards right now because the hards could definitely last until the very end of the race, and for some reason we stayed out. Like, we just didn't go in. I don't know why. I don't know what it was that made me just not go into the pits, but we didn't go into the pits. So we stay out on 6-lap-old mediums while Kilos is on 6-lap-old softs. And you guys can see it. We had already built such a gap to basically everybody else that we're Possassin's already back behind us. Carney is back behind Possassin, and they've actually jumped Gelfi in the pits. So it's like, I mean, they didn't jump him, sorry, but it was just really confusing. I thought they would still lose at least a couple positions maybe, but they lost no positions. Basically, they stayed right up on us who didn't pit. So I mean, that basically means that everybody as well, basically everybody pitted. So we decided to stay out. We're on the 6-lap-old mediums. Kilos is backing up the pack as he should as the race leader. So it's just gonna be interesting to see. We do have a lapped car, like he's in P17, but he isn't moving for some reason. I'm not too sure what's going on there. Obviously he's disconnected, but I think he ends up coming back. So Kilos catches me off guard just a tiny bit. I was like, surely he's gonna go now, and he doesn't, and then he goes right now. So that was really, I think I'm gonna have to, it depends on the track, but I think I'm gonna put that in my locker because that was a really good move on his part. But we get tapped actually going into turn 1, so we're side by side with Possassin, and he gets a better drive. I think for some reason that bot didn't move, or that the back marker did not move at the restart. So Possassin, I think they may have had contact, and then yeah, basically I got, as I'm turning in, obviously I was gonna turn in, nobody was side by side with me, so I turn in, and there he is. So I think he actually does get some damage from that. I'm not too sure. And then we get our first and only warning of the race. But nonetheless, it really didn't make a difference. Possassin was kind of being aggressive all race, but in his defense, I think I probably would have been too. You don't know what's going to happen the rest of the race, and clearing people is the most important part of league racing, really, if you're in that position. So getting on to lap 9, My mediums are obviously starting to get a little bit sketchy. Gelfi behind us is on fresh mediums. The leaders have just absolutely gone. Kilo's obviously being on those softs, still getting some work out of those, so he's gone. And we're gonna battle a little bit with Gelfi going side by side into the bus stop chicane. We get a better, we do better in the braking zone, so we do get out of the bus stop ahead, but Gelfi is right on our side. So what we decided to do is basically give him this position. I knew that he was possibly not thinking long term, but we give him the position. He thinks that we're side by side with him, but really we just filled in behind him. So he doesn't get a good exit out of La Source, and going into the Campbell straight, obviously I knew I was just gonna get him straight back because he gave me the DRS basically. So we get straight back past him on lap 10, and this is really good for our race because keeping Gelfi behind is very important. He did pit as we make a mistake and just gift him the position back. We were getting some really bad oversteer towards the end of the stint, but either way, we get saved right here. Another safety car gets called, and that basically saves our race. If we hadn't gotten that, we would have been, I don't know where we would have been, but we would have been back pretty far. You can see on the map at least 4 or 5 cars within probably 20 seconds. So if this safety car didn't come out, we definitely would have been in a much more difficult position not having taken that first pit stop. So we get bailed out for sure. We get bailed out. Putting on softs, obviously used softs, but nonetheless softs. So we don't make it out in front of Gelfi. Gelfi gets out in front of Passassin somehow. I don't know exactly what happened there, but either way, getting into this restart, we're going to get Passassin's right on the back of Gelfi. I'm deciding to keep it a little bit safe. They go straight away, no ducking around. And Nico is kind of close to me. I got a little bit worried, but at the same time, he's got 3 seconds of penalties, and I knew I really didn't have that, if at all. He didn't really have any pace over me, so I wasn't too worried about him being behind me. As you guys will see, that he does have an incident later on, but getting a little bit squirrely out of Radion. We still just chilling behind Gelfi, really. Gelfi gets passed into turn 1 by Passassin, and basically I was on the back of him for the entirety of the next lap. He puts on mediums out of that pit stop window, or pit stop during the safety car, and that really, I think, screwed him over because putting on those softs, or mediums, I mean, just made him a sitting duck to basically everybody else on the grid because we were all on softs. So we get, before DRS is even turned back on, we're able to just breeze past him really on the Camel straight, and going into this first section of turns, we don't make the same mistake that we did before. We managed to get through cleanly, and after that it was basically race over for me. I wasn't gonna catch Passassin on those softs, even though he has 3 seconds of penalties. I didn't have the tires for it. I didn't have the wherewithal. I had the tires for it, but it was just not really worth pushing that hard just to possibly DNF. With where I'm at on this game, just wasn't confident enough. So yeah, you guys just seen Gelfi basically getting destroyed by Nico late in the race. That really sucked for Gelfi. He went from basically getting a guaranteed podium to the pit stop incident, putting on the wrong tires possibly, and then finishing, I think, maybe P6, maybe P7. So unfortunate for him, but we finished P2 behind Passassin. And yeah, like I said, after we passed Gelfi, there was really nothing to talk of our race. We really just stopped pushing. Switchback started to catch us a little bit, but we did enough just to stay ahead of him. He had several penalties anyway, so it didn't really matter. But either way, that's a good start to the season. Starting in P3 and getting back into P2 when it didn't really look like we had much. It didn't look like we had that opportunity, but luckily that safety car came out, and yeah, we were able to get it done. So I appreciate y'all for watching. This was definitely a longer commentary than I've done in a while, 20 minutes. So definitely leave a like, comment, subscribe. I don't know if I'm gonna upload this today. Today is Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday, so we'll see. I might put this up on Thursday, But nonetheless, enjoy your guys' week. I will be back. We've got a couple of ACC races coming up that you guys will see me streaming throughout the week. So I'll see you guys later. Peace.